Is to really look closely at the plants. Oh, look at this. I didn't see that before, friends, but look who's come out to say hello. Let's get him off these spiky things. Did you see him? He must have just fallen out of the sky or something. I didn't see him before. Do you know what this is? Make a guess. I'm going to see if I can focus on him a little bit better. Did you make a guess? This little guy is a caterpillar. He's a caterpillar, a real little guy. And if he eats enough leaves, his favorite kind of leaves, he's going to grow and grow so big that he'll get too tight for his skin. He will actually peel off his skin. It doesn't hurt. It feels like somebody taking off a coat that might be too tight. And then he'll grow again, and he'll shed that skin, and he'll grow again and shed that skin, and he'll do it just enough times until the final thing he does is he'll turn upside down and create a cocoon or a chrysalis. It's like a big sleeping bag that he gets to hang upside down in. And what will happen then is metamorphosis, really magical transformation that nature does, and he will or she will turn into a butterfly. Isn't that amazing? So I don't know what color this butterfly is going to be. I don't know when, if it's a moth, when it will go through metamorphosis. But what I'm going to do is take a picture, and then I'm going to go to my computer, and I'm going to look in my books and see if I can find out who this caterpillar is. Alright, friends, we were just talking about a caterpillar. We just found a caterpillar out here in this beautiful little patch of violets and succulents. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what you should do if you do find a creature in nature. It could be a caterpillar, could be a beetle, it could be a worm or anything like that. And what should you do if you find it and you want to learn more about it? So we found this little caterpillar here just a few moments ago. I put him in this little jar, and often what we want to do is pick up the caterpillar or pick up the creature, take it, bring it inside, and keep it as a pet. I don't know about you, but that's often how I first feel. But what we have to do, even before that, is think about the creature and what the creature would like. So think about a little tiny caterpillar or a little beetle or anything like that, and to think about what they would like, and to think about how tiny they are and how big we are. And so I know that this caterpillar would like to be in the wild. It would like to be in nature, where it lives and where everything it needs is provided. So the first thing I would do if I found a creature like this and I wanted to keep it or learn more about it is I would probably take a really good photograph of it. Get someone's phone, ask them to take a really close picture with something called macro feature. Usually phones have a little program that looks like a tiny tulip, and it can let you get really, 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 really close. Once you've taken a picture or a video, it's a really great idea to let this little caterpillar go. Some people have kept caterpillars in jars before, and they think, oh, it's okay, I know what it likes to eat. I know that it likes to eat leaves, so I'm going to give it some lettuce, right? Some lettuce from my refrigerator. But no, very few caterpillars that you're going to find out in your yard like lettuce. You think, well, I'll just pick some leaves from a tree nearby. But caterpillars are really specific, and a lot of them only eat one kind of leaf. Some of my friends were trying to keep some caterpillars as pets, and they weren't eating the food that my friends were giving to them. And I had to do some investigation. It was hard to do, but I found out that the caterpillars actually didn't like to eat leaves. They liked to eat needles from Douglas fir trees. They liked to eat needles from Douglas fir trees. Can you imagine? So they were giving it the wrong food the whole time. So the best place for little creatures that you find is to stay in the wild. If you want to look at it, to take a picture, or to learn a bit more about it, you could keep it in a little container to keep it safe and snuggly. so that you can get a really good picture or take a drawing and then put it back exactly where you found it. Because your creature probably had a mission. It probably knew where the best food was, and it had a place to sleep at night. Who knows? Sometimes they even have family that they want to go visit again. So it's a really good idea to put them back exactly where you found them. And if we take a picture, then we can look at it later and we can learn to identify it. Isn't that an amazing creature? Remember too that a lot of these creatures don't like to be held. You'll notice when I put this caterpillar in this container, he curled up in a little ball. That's because he was a bit scared. I'm so much larger than him. He felt a little bit scared. He doesn't know that I'm not a bird that wants to eat him. He doesn't know that I'm a predator who wants to eat him. So he was feeling very scared, and that's why he rolled up in a little ball. So I'm going to put him very gently back where I found him, in this little patch of sedum and violets. I'm going to put him back really gently. He doesn't want me to hold him. Again, he's such a small creature with a little tiny body that my hands are so strong. I have to make sure I'm very gentle. So I'm going to put him back just where I found him. Right there. All over. Come here. And hope that he finds the plants that he was looking for. Right? Thank you, friends, for being gentle with all the creatures that you find in the wild, and your pets at home too. It's a big responsibility, but I think a really important one. So that's cool. I'm definitely going to put that caterpillar in my nature journal later today. Hi, friends. Remember when I was talking in one of the caterpillar videos about how caterpillars like to eat very particular things? When you find a caterpillar, they don't necessarily eat every different kind of leaf. In fact, often caterpillars only eat one kind of leaf. And I talked about a caterpillar that liked to eat Douglas fir needles, and I found one. It was living at the school. And this caterpillar doesn't like apple leaves or eating cedar. It doesn't like eating leaves from blackberry bushes. It likes eating the sharp, tangy needles from a Douglas fir tree. So I found it, I recognized it, and I brought it home. And I put it in a container with some Douglas fir needles. And lo and behold, look who's chomping away. So make sure, friends, that if you do decide to find a caterpillar and hold it, don't hold it for too long. Don't keep it in your house for too long, just giving it grass and leaves, because you might not be sure what kind of food it needs to survive. So here we have a little bit of information about caterpillars and frass. Let's write frass. And frass is a fancy word for caterpillar droppings or caterpillar poop. Now, you know that we have two different kinds of caterpillars right now. So one are the painted lady caterpillars that are going to turn into painted lady butterflies, and they are the ones that are pupating. And it's moving day for them. I need to move them into their larger habitat to get ready for metamorphosis and emerging. But we also had this little one. This was called, I believe, a tiger spotted caterpillar. And this is a particularly interesting little caterpillar because it has one favorite food, which is Douglas fir needles. I know, it loves them. And you could say, Miss Lisa, how do you know that? Well, I read it in a book. I looked at it online. And also, when I added some Douglas fir needles to its habitat, I noticed that it began to eat them. Look at this little tiny twig. Do you see how there's no needles right here? Well, when I put this twig in its habitat, there was needles, but they've all been nibbled and eaten up. I also watched the caterpillar very closely and watched its little mouth actually nibbling away at one of these needles. Now, another interesting thing is that if you look at the frass or the caterpillar's droppings, you can see that they look different depending on what it is eating. And this is what scientists do sometimes when they want to learn what an animal is eating. They watch the living animal and see if they can observe it actually eating something, Or if the animal is very secretive or hard to find, they will actually go searching for its droppings, or sign. Sign is another word for animal droppings. And they'll look at it. So I want to show you the difference. So here is our white spotted, I think it's called a white spotted caterpillar. I'll have to look that up for you guys to make sure. Here he is here, and this is its frass, or its droppings. Do you see the color? It's a brownish green. It looks really crumbly, like it's very, very dry, and it looks quite crumbly because it's pretty much made of the leftover cellulose from the Douglas fir needles. Now over here, our painted lady caterpillars were eating that milkweed pudding, that milkweed porridge that I showed in another video. And look at their frass. It's very wet. It's very soft. It's almost like a little bit of jelly candies, and it looks like the same color. It's also very large because it's very wet and moist. So you can see the difference between these caterpillars. Their droppings, their scat, their frass, and what they were eating. It's very fascinating. And when you're studying other animals, like let's say you were studying cougars or wolves, in a wolf's droppings, you could actually find a lot of fur from the animals it was eating. And in a bear's droppings, let's say, you might find even little berries or seeds left over from the fruit that it was eating. So scat, frass, sign, droppings, it's actually all a really great way to learn about animals.